Narcissism and emotional regulation, the struggle for inner balance. Emotional regulation is a critical skill for maintaining mental well-being and healthy interpersonal relationships. It involves the ability to manage and respond to emotional experiences in constructive ways. For narcissistic individuals, emotional regulation often presents a significant challenge. Their deep-seated insecurities, need for validation, and heightened reactivity to criticism can lead to emotional volatility and unhealthy coping mechanisms. This article explores the connection between narcissism and emotional regulation, the psychological dynamics at play, and strategies for fostering greater emotional balance. Emotional regulation in narcissistic individuals. Narcissistic individuals often struggle with emotional regulation due to a combination of psychological traits and learned behaviors. 1. Fragile self-esteem. Beneath their outward confidence lies a deep vulnerability, making them highly sensitive to perceived slights or failures. 2. Validation dependency. Their reliance on external approval to maintain self-worth creates intense emotional highs and lows. 3. Difficulty processing criticism. Feedback, even when constructive, is often perceived as a threat to their ego, triggering defensive or aggressive reactions. 4. Suppression of vulnerability. To protect their self-image, they may avoid confronting difficult emotions, leading to unresolved inner turmoil. Manifestations of poor emotional regulation. Narcissistic individuals may display a range of behaviors indicative of emotional dysregulation. Emotional outbursts. Anger and aggression, reacting to criticism or perceived disrespect with intense anger or hostility. Emotional manipulation, using guilt, shame, or other tactics to regain control in emotionally charged situations. Avoidance and suppression. Emotional numbing, ignoring or suppressing uncomfortable feelings rather than addressing them. Withdrawal, distancing themselves from situations or people that challenge their self-image. Unhealthy coping mechanisms. Overcompensation, engaging in excessive displays of confidence or success to mask feelings of inadequacy. Blame shifting, redirecting responsibility for negative emotions onto others to avoid accountability. The impact of emotional dysregulation. The inability to manage emotions effectively can have far-reaching consequences for narcissistic individuals and their relationships. 1. Relationship strain. Emotional volatility and manipulation create tension and mistrust in personal and professional connections. 2. Mental health challenges. Persistent emotional dysregulation contributes to anxiety, depression, and chronic stress. 3. Stunted personal growth. Avoiding vulnerability and self-reflection prevents meaningful self-improvement. 4. Professional setbacks. Difficulty handling criticism or setbacks undermines teamwork and career progression. Strategies for improving emotional regulation. Although challenging, narcissistic individuals can develop better emotional regulation skills with intentional effort and support. For narcissistic individuals. 1. Identify triggers. Reflect on situations or interactions that provoke strong emotional reactions. 2. Practice mindfulness. Use techniques like meditation or grounding exercises to stay present and manage emotional responses. 3. Develop emotional awareness. Learn to recognize and label emotions accurately, without judgment. 4. Reframe criticism. View feedback as an opportunity for growth rather than a personal attack. 5. Engage in therapy. Work with a professional to address underlying insecurities and build healthier coping mechanisms. For loved ones and colleagues. 1. Set boundaries. Protect your emotional well-being by clearly defining acceptable behaviors. 2. Model emotional regulation. Demonstrate calm and constructive responses in emotionally charged situations. 3. Encourage open dialogue. Foster an environment where emotions can be discussed without fear of judgment. 4. Support small wins. Acknowledge and celebrate efforts to manage emotions more effectively. Building emotional resilience. For narcissistic individuals, achieving emotional regulation involves shifting focus from external validation to internal balance. Embrace vulnerability. Recognize that acknowledging and processing emotions is a sign of strength, not weakness. Develop coping strategies. Replace avoidance and suppression with constructive methods for managing stress and emotions. Prioritize self-reflection. Regularly evaluate emotional responses to identify patterns and areas for growth. Invest in relationships, focus on building trust and mutual respect and interpersonal connections. Conclusion. Narcissistic individuals often face significant challenges in regulating their emotions, driven by their insecurities, sensitivity to criticism, and need for control. However, with self-awareness, intentional practice, and professional support, they can develop the skills necessary to achieve greater emotional balance. For those engaging with narcissists, patience, empathy, and clear boundaries are essential for navigating these dynamics and fostering healthier interactions.